Now we move to the true bearer of the worldwide phenomenon, Dragon Ball Z. And right from the beginning, it slaps us in the face and turns everything we know upside down, breaking the mold after it was just broken 2 sagas ago. This kid, with a funny tale, an ability that was never really explained to us, the boy turned into a man that we have followed for years, who now has his own family, is an alien. You don't understand the true scope of this. Hell, I don't understand the true scope of this because I started off with Z. I've spent a lot of time trying to wrap my head around how much of a shock it would have been, and I just can't do it. It fundamentally changes the entire show. Like I said before, it establishes that anything is possible, and yet still manages to amaze us and take us beyond our own conception of what anything is possible really means. It took Goku 150 episodes to be the strongest on his planet, and now we find out from his alien brother that this planet is considered weak, and there are many other threats across the galaxy. Like the brilliant work of art that it is, it took all that it had done up until this point to establish the strength of Goku and shattered it all, and we love it. This new threat is so strong that the 2 strongest warriors on the planet need to team up to defeat him, and oh my god, why is Goku's kid so strong out of nowhere? This means that maybe we can watch Gohan grow alongside Goku and he is dead. What in the hell? Yes, we've still got the Dragon Balls, but it's the fact that Asian Superman got wiped out so easily and so humiliatingly right at the start of his new adventure that really shocks us. It's one thing for someone like Krillin or Yamcha to get stomped, but Goku? Now we know that 2 alien threats are on their way, and so begins the year-long training for all the Z fighters, including the last big bad, now training Goku's kid. If people would ask before Z came out what type of events they expected, not many would have said a dead Goku while his son is being trained by Piccolo. Every saga in which someone tries to predict what'll happen, they'll end up being wrong, every single time. So Goku is off training with the next level of God, sorry Kami. Everyone else is working hard, fast forward and the threat arrives. Now we have a fight to the death showdown in a way that we, yet again, have not actually seen in the series. I cannot stress enough just how wrong the concept of the series being predictable actually is. You just need to stop looking at everything in hindsight. So begins the fight, and we experience something new and truly terrifying. Of these 2 enemies, the weaker one single-handedly wrecks the entire defense of Earth. We have never seen a beatdown like this up until this point. If we had forgotten the new realm Raditz brought us into, with aliens who consider this planet puny and weak, Nappa definitely reminded us. He punches a dude's arm off, survives a Pokemon using self-destruct like it's nothing, takes Tien's strongest attack, which at this point is ranked as one of the strongest attacks in the entire show like it's nothing, and just dicks around with everyone until he gets pissed, tries to one-shot Gohan, but instead one-shots Piccolo, the son of the Demon King now turned Space Slug, who was supposed to be the personification of evil, sacrificing himself to save his arch-enemy's child. Something no character development. In comes Goku in the last-minute heroics that DBZ has straight up perfected, and he proceeds to amaze us yet again by single-handedly toying with Nappa. He took Nappa's strength gap, which is already a few deviations away from everyone else, and moves a few deviations away from even him. Never has the strength gap been so massive, and this is when it is solidified for all of us that this is the Goku show. And in the next fight, the Goku show has his body crushed. After the epic battle with Vegeta, where we got to see the classic Kaioken beatdown, with this iconic, medium-changing beam struggle. Goku could not pull it off. This Goku show sucks. He needed the help of a bald midget, a fat guy with a sword, and a 6-year-old who can turn into a giant monkey to finally defeat this massive villain. Both of his new techniques that he learned from a deity, the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb, while hitting their target, ultimately failed to bring him down. So with all that has happened, what is the next step to find stronger enemies?
Namek and the Dragon Balls!
We are leaving the planet. Off we go to what many consider to be the pinnacle of all of Dragon Ball, the Namek saga. And it's easy to see why. It's like Z kept everything that makes it Z and went back to its original Dragon Ball adventure roots. We have 4 different parties, all playing a mixture of Capture the 7 Flags and a cat and mouse game. We have the weak and helpless Earthlings who are just trying to run out the clock until their win condition arrives. The previous saga's villain, back and stronger than ever, fighting a multi-front war all by himself. The army of the strongest being in the universe, and the Namekians, hunted in their own way by everyone else. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses. The Earthlings can sense energy and have a Dragon Scouter, as well as not being hated by the Namekians, but they severely lack any firepower. Vegeta can now sense energy as well somehow, but is by himself and must rely on his wits as much as his muscle. But even he is limited with Frieza's army running around. Frieza and his men cannot sense energy but have scouters, and definitely has the most firepower by far. The Namekians are of limited strength, and 2 of the other teams don't care if they're all dead, but they know the locations of the balls as well as how to use them. Imagine once again being in the beginning of this scenario. Who will interact with who? What kind of schemes will one group use to get their hands on the Dragon Balls? How and when will they cross paths? Yet again, we are looking at the vast scope of anything can happen. The Namek saga is not the only example, but it is the prime example of why this idea that DBZ was predictable was, frankly, bullcrap. No one knew how the Earthlings would handle Frieza's army, and we certainly did not expect Vegeta to come accidentally help. After so easily killing 2 minions,
Goodbye.
no one would have expected Vegeta to get bodied like he did against a freaking underling.
What the hell?
After he gets captured, the stereotypical DBZ would have him blasting his way out and fighting everyone to escape. Instead, he comes up with a scheme to distract the big bad and steal all the Dragon Balls.
No, he's pilfering my Dragon Balls right under our noses!
Out you go!
Nearly winning Capture the Flag after avoiding the big cat in the cat and mouse game. Frieza's army keeps showing us how much brute force just doesn't work in the saga. That is, until he summons even more brute force. Now previous big bad Vegeta must team up with our Earthling duo, but it's all for nothing. Our Earthling duo is finally given a chance to shine against one of the members of the elite Ginyu squad, but it is Vegeta that kills him in the end. After Vegeta gives one of the more vicious thrashings of the show, he in turn gets one of the more vicious thrashings of the show. Gohan ends up being our last hope, but we all know how that turned out. Everyone is down until Goku comes onto the scene. Let's take a brief moment and pause here. I think we can all appreciate that all the series of events, the events that many hold to be the best the series has to offer, is considerably full of things that don't fall into most people's stereotypes about the show. A constant back and forth, most people having to use their wits to survive, alliances, the backstory of the Namekians, the power-ups that proved to be essentially useless. Namek was truly a battlefield, and watching those individual pieces move filled us with a lot of delight. There's not many shows that can really pull off this battlefield-style approach. Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorite shows, but their Hunter exam arc, as positively awesome as it was nowhere near as clever or as unexpected as the supposedly simple Dragon Ball Z. One of the reasons for this is that Hunter x Hunter has its rules for the story laid out incredibly well, and we try to see what happens within that story. The power system of Nen is probably the best in all of Shonen, but in DBZ, like I said before, anything can happen. It's a trade-off. I would never want to see Hunter x Hunter try to become DBZ, and I hope DBZ never tries to solidify its power scaling in the way that Nen does. That's how we can get cool attacks that don't need a technical explanation, sudden moments that change the flow of events on a dime, and people can get turned into candy that fights back. Back to the plot, Goku comes in to save the day at the nick of time, which is something that, I'll just state this again, DBZ has perfected. And not a single anime even comes close to the feelings you get when Goku shows up on the scene. He is the hope when everything seems hopeless. Goku's dealings with the Ginyu Force showcase to us something that I think is rightfully viewed as a common DBZ trope. You reach new heights of power only for it to not matter soon after. He deals with everyone else easily enough, but when Captain Ginyu comes to the scene, he shows us his ability to steal people's bodies. And again, we are left with a series of what-if questions going in, such as can he use Goku's full power? Can the other three take him on? Will he steal another's body? How can Goku get his own body back? That ends with Ginyu switching with a toad of all things. More shenanigans happens, and we are finally met with the beginning of the end. The final fight with Frieza. Frieza is one of, if not the biggest villain in all of anime. He is also the prime example of how Akira Toriyama just loves to take tropes and turn them on their head. As we covered earlier, when protagonists keep looking like this, he makes them look like this. While everyone's all brooding and serious, we get this goofy little shit. Magical girls transform into these beautiful fighters, but Toriyama gives us this train wreck. And when the villains keep being drawn as these big, hulking behemoths, our main villain is this calm, cool, collected midget floating around in a chair. From when we get the first glimpse of him in episode 44, there is a whole 33 episodes until episode 77 that this final fight happens. During this time, we see many forms of his tyranny.
You imbecile. You disposed of the only witness. Freeza?
There are a few things I despise more than a minion who takes it upon himself to make executive decisions. Zarbon, if Vegeta is dead, then prepare yourself to follow his example.
Either from direct acting like his dismantling of the Namekian nail,
That was quite rude of me, wasn't it? My apologies. You may have it back.
or from King Kai's desperate pleadings to avoid this monster at all costs.
Family, loved ones, the Earth itself, not to mention countless other worlds, would be at risk. So much as look at him wrong, and Frieza's wrath will engulf everything you, me, and anyone on our side holds dear. Just this once, you must leave well enough alone.
He has been getting built up for longer than most villains exist. The final boss of everything. The Emperor of the entire universe. We've seen some pretty nasty dudes in Dragon Ball, but no one who seems to just straight up torture people for fun like Frieza does. The pain and suffering of others isn't just a means, it's an end in and of themselves. And when he has his first and second horrifying transformations, he sends fear flowing through everyone. At his final transformation though, something strange happens. He stops being as horrifyingly grotesque. The power of art is nothing short of magic, where a simple line or two can change the entire feel and emotion that an image has. Everything we've seen so far from Frieza's army, especially with the transformations, has been bumpy, pointy, and just plain ugly. But this calm, smooth creature that has emerged, it breaks all our expectations yet again. From here, the fear just keeps on coming. But before we can even generate our own fear, Frieza helps us along by blasting a small child to death like it's nothing. But this has caused Gohan to have one of his classic rage-induced power-ups, one that has let him take on every villain so far, and just like that, he can do nothing. Hopelessness begins to grow inside us as well. All three of them cannot do a thing. And even when Vegeta squares off, despite the characters acting like they don't know what's about to happen, deep down, we all know. And all we can do is watch as Vegeta himself slowly realizes this, and we get to witness yet another brutal torture of the Prince of Saiyans.
How's that? Are you beginning to regret your foolish attempt to defy me?
When Goku arrives on the scene, it's almost bittersweet. Vegeta is decimated. Yeah, he might have gotten a Zenkai boost, but Vegeta got one. Piccolo fused and increased his power dramatically. Everyone has proven to be utterly useless against this monster. What could Goku possibly—
Oh shit!
Just like that, we are given that ray of hope in the darkness. It seems that Goku really has achieved the status of legendary Super Saiyan. The one that's been mentioned and repeated since he arrived on Namek, drilling it into us.
Wait, has he actually done it? It couldn't be. No, that would be impossible. Kakarot, that low-class scum? There's no way someone like him could become a Super Saiyan. Could the legend really be true? Has Kakarot become a Super Saiyan? You're dealing with a real Super Saiyan. Yes, you heard me. The legendary warrior, even mightier than you. He stands before you now.
And Vegeta, the Saiyan Prince, meets his end. It is during his touching, gut-wrenching speech to Goku that things start to really feel different.
After we Saiyans served him faithfully, and blindly followed his every last order, he betrayed us. He disposed of our race like common trash, wiped us from existence, so that now we are all that remain.
They such feel real, in a way only the most over-the-top fiction can really pull off.
They're all gone. Your parents, my father, the king. We Saiyans were growing in strength and numbers, and Frieza feared that soon a Super Saiyan would be born among us. It terrified him. I'm begging you, please, beat him. For me, for the pride of our race, you must defeat him, please. He must die by a Saiyan's hand.
The legend of the Super Saiyan, the myth that caused this entire chain of events to happen, sending baby Kakarot to Earth before Frieza destroys planet Vegeta, Goku and Vegeta's fathers murdered by this tyrant, their entire race wiped out like it was nothing. Every battle, every interaction, all of it has led up to this moment. This mysterious kid that so many grew up with, whose life story unfolded in front of us, all his laughs, all his struggles, with his lovingly foolish goal of always fighting the strongest people he can, has led him to face off against the ruler of the entire universe, the strongest, the malicious, the tyrant, Frieza. From here, we get the longest battle in anime history, lasting 19 long, brutal episodes. This fight is longer than a modern-day season of a show. Some might say it went on for way too long. It dragged on. To an extent, that's true, I can see it. The original Z by this point did way too much to kill time, and this fight was one of the aspects that Kai made immensely better. But aside from that, remember, this is a saga, and for many people, it felt like the end of this incredible journey. As such, it deserved an epic ending. And frankly, it was just straight up fun. We get to see characters trying to mess with the other with funny rules like only using their legs, fun strategies like Goku's underwater blasts. Frieza's mysterious telekinetic powers, and so much else. But at some point during this fight, the fun stops, and that's when Frieza reveals, all this time, he has only been using a fraction of his power. When he boosts himself to 50% of his potential, it feels like the beginning of the end. I mentioned before that Dragon Ball uses its concept of anything can happen against us, and they used it to perfection here. Anything can happen, and because of that, you are forced to lose hope. We as the viewer cannot imagine what Goku can possibly do. He is beaten and pummeled like he was a small child. His power boosting technique, Kaioken times 20. All it's doing is making sure Frieza doesn't accidentally kill him as he toys with him. Even if he was to somehow bring that to Kaioken times 100, it's difficult to see that doing anything more than maybe making Frieza break a sweat. And it's still only half of his power. The Namekians are dead, which means no more Namekian Dragon Balls. There's no more Saiyans. King Kai isn't even pretending to have hope. No tricks to be pulled off. No rage boost. No sensu bean. Anything can happen, but it doesn't matter. All hope is nearly lost. Nearly lost. There is still one thing left to try. The Spirit Bomb. It didn't work against Vegeta, but it's the only hope we got. And even then it's a slim hope, with how much time this ultimate technique takes. But what else can we do? Goku starts charging the Spirit Bomb, hoping to God that Frieza doesn't notice. The remaining fighters come in and try to do what they can to buy Goku some time. However little that is. This planet barely has enough life in it to give what is needed. The surrounding galaxy is needed to finally bring down this tyrant. The ultimate evil needs to be brought down by the technique of the ultimate good. You want Goku to throw it so badly, but he keeps telling us not yet. It's not big enough yet. Not for this monster. Just when Frieza has had enough and is ready to pull the plug on everything, it's time. Goku throws his trump card. The strongest weapon. A galaxy-fueled Spirit Bomb. And it hits. It actually hits. Even Frieza is afraid of this thing. Even Frieza cannot stop it. He tries fighting back, using all of his strength that he has, but he keeps getting pushed and pushed. Finally, he hits the ground, and in one big explosion, it is over. He did it. Goku did it.
Goku has actually won! Frieza has been overpowered! Good has triumphed over evil! The bane of the universe is bested!
Goku's won? Come on, was there ever really any doubt?
From the pits of hopelessness, a miracle is born. Goku has defeated the universe's greatest nemesis. We are treated to that beautiful peace after the climactic battle, where the characters can finally smile again.
Well, guess it's time to go home, our heads held high. Might actually have a chance to live the dream.
Huh?
Yeah. You're seriously gonna make me spell out what's at the top of my victory list, aren't you? And a girlfriend.
Huh?
But all this did was set us up. So when we finally got a chance to breathe a sigh of relief, Dragon Ball reminds us why doing such a thing is dangerous. Frieza lives. He's definitely injured, but he's doing a lot better than Goku. And just like that, what we thought was the bottom of the pit of hopelessness was really just a ceiling to the pit we didn't even know existed. Frieza is no longer wasting any time. He's not messing around anymore. Everyone dies, now! He tries to just take Goku out immediately, but Piccolo intervenes, getting taken out in the process. Next, Krillin is taken out.
Goku!
Just straight up blown to pieces, and he just laughs. From all this pain,
You ruthless,
from all this suffering,
heartless bastard!
from all of this utter hopelessness,
I will make you suffer!
an event is born. One that has forever changed anime and manga as we know it. This is not someone that can be reasoned with, not someone that can be forgiven. He will kill and he will destroy until there is nothing left. And he needs to be stopped once and for all!
What?
And thus, the legend is born. All this time, we were led to believe that Goku had somehow already achieved the status of a Super Saiyan. None of us expected anything as magnificent as this. The legendary warrior, born again after 1,000 years. Opinions be damned, this is the most iconic scene in all of anime, hands down. There is no other moment more recognizable, no other moment that shaped the entire medium like this. Aside from being a visual delight, whether intended to or not, this scene resonates something primal.
What are you?
You haven't figured it out yet. I'm the Saiyan who came all the way from Earth for the sole purpose of feeding you.
Something outright mythological.
I am the warrior you've heard of in legends, pure of heart and awakened by fury. That's what I am.
Within us all, regardless of who we are or where we come from. When it seems like there is no hope left, out of the darkness shines the light of a savior. This little monkey boy, this primate, we watched his legend grow until that monkey gained his angelic aura.
I am the Super Saiyan, Son Goku!
The tale that's as old as time itself, the ultimate evil being confronted by the light of the ultimate good. Time and time again, other anime and manga have tried to capture the essence of this feeling, the trope that has become all but ingrained into almost every battle shonen, the transformation. None of them can hold a candle to the first time Goku amazed everyone, child and adult alike. And the beatdown he proceeded to give, after so long, after so many episodes, after so many deaths, felt so satisfying. Even after Frieza achieved 100% strength, when the feeling of hopelessness tried to rear its ugly head.
Now, I understand if you're impressed, but I have a confession to make. That was a warm-up.
Goku assured us there is nothing to worry about.
What a relief. I was beginning to worry. That was as strong as you could get.
What better place for this fight to happen than on top of an exploding planet? What proceeds next is a systematic dismantling of Frieza. While everyone tries to figure out the little plans of what they're gonna do, Goku tells them no, leave me here. I will end this. Because this is how it's meant to be. Finally, to round out these tales as old as time itself, the tyrant ends up falling on his own sword.
No, it can't be.
Even after Goku foolishly answers his desperate pleas, this monster does the only thing it knows how to do. It attacks Goku one final time, only to have it blown right back in his face.
You fool!
This is the perfect time to bring up again the importance of even just a few single lines in any character's art. No detail is ever too small. Which emotion do you think would best fit Goku here after he finally kills Frieza? Would it be anger that his last attempt at showing mercy and compassion was met by betrayal by the most evil creature he had ever witnessed? Or would it be sadness that even after all that, after everything Goku has seen in his life, there was a demon that just could not change? The subtlety in the eyes between the anime and the manga changed the entire course of emotion that flowed from this final act. Unfortunately, it was all too late. After the greatest evil has been defeated, Goku could not escape the exploding planet. After making sure Frieza could not escape, he fell to the fates. The ultimate sacrifice from the ultimate warrior to ensure that the universe finally knew peace. Except Goku wasn't dead, Frieza lives and even more evil lurks just around the corner.